the official podcast of FCS Fans Nation, with your hosts Kylor Neal, Matthew Frazee, and Jamie Williams.
FCS Fans Nation. We just went chalk. The Elite Seven is on. The seeds are rolling, except for one that got blocked out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the FCS Fans Nation podcast, a surprise live show for you on this Sunday evening. Jamie Williams ready to bowl, myself not blocking anybody's airwaves, and Kylor flying Neal down there on the bottom. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are excited to talk about the Elite Eight, as only 8 teams remain in the FCS playoffs. Thank you so much for joining us, guys, on YouTube. Like I made mention through Apple and Spotify, this will not be posting on those normal platforms due to real-life circumstances. Kylor, you say there right now that the Big South is the best. Well, I'm heading south down to Cabo bright and early tomorrow morning, which is a big reason why I can't post everything. So I'm heading off to warmer skies. Any suggestions for me? I know you've got your Eastern Washington mask in the back. I believe that was from Mexico. Do you have any tips or tricks for me to enjoy some margaritas down there?
Drink icebergs, right?
Icebergs?
Those are so, half Corona, half frozen margarita. Add an extra shot of tequila in there just because you need to. It's Mexico. But you're going to Cabo, right?
You're going to Cabo. Yep, going down on the bottom part. I haven't been. It's more dry, that's what I've heard.
It's desert landscape down there, baby. I haven't been there since I was 18, so should be a good time for you. I'm jealous. I'll be up in Wisconsin, so screw you.
We're 180 in the temperatures there.
Yeah, we are.
Take some emotion, Jamie.
That's true.
Well, I might need some recovery time. 2 margaritas with Matt's going to be 40 margaritas with Matt. A lot quicker than we realize. Jamie, before we get to some great Big Seven questions here, breaking down some great games and getting ready for the future, how are you feeling about the FCS playoffs so far? And are you getting giddy already for these matchups this weekend?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I really enjoyed watching some of the games this weekend. I mean, pretty much everything went the way I thought it would. I did pick all of the games correctly. I expected a tight one between NDSU and Montana State. Couldn't get much tighter. I expected a tight one between Idaho and Southern Illinois. And Kylor is right. The Big South is the best because which other conference has half of their teams that made the playoffs this year? 1 out of 2.
Absolutely.
Valid. You can have that one. Well, we're always thankful to have our sponsors here, Walk On Apparel and the Versus Sports Simulator, who've been sponsoring the show the entire time. So make sure you guys give them some love. And before we kick into the Big Seven, we'll get a quick shout out to both of those amazing organizations.
The FCS Fans Nation podcast is brought to you by Walk On Apparel. Walk On Apparel specializes in FCS and mid-major clothing and believes that every fan base should have quality options to rep the schools they love. Along with you receiving a great product, 10% of the profit from every sale is donated directly to that school's athletic fund. Visit walkon-apparel.com and use promo code FCS Fans Nation to get 15% off of your purchase. Limited schools currently available with new releases monthly. Walk On Apparel. Up the fans, up the culture. The FCS Fans Nation podcast is also sponsored by the ultimate analytical prediction football experience. Introducing the Versus Sports Simulator, your secret weapon for predicting FCS, mid-major, and all other football games. Get ahead of the game and take your sports betting and knowledge to the next level with a site and app that's built to ignore bias and just give you the facts. If you subscribe today and use promo code FCS Fans Nation, you'll save 20% on your subscription. You can download the Versus app on the App Store and Google Play by searching Versus Sports Simulator or going to versussportssimulator.com. With Versus, it's not a prediction, it's science.
The top 7 FCS topics of the week. This is the Big 7.
You're on mute, Matt.
Matt, we cannot hear you. He is gone, so I'll just kind of take over here.
Every time we do something live, it's Matt who jacks up everything.
That's all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, we've already got the first question up here. I'll just kick it to you. Start. Joshua Hoffman, Jeremiah Rash both want to know: does Albany have a fighting chance in the Kibbe Dome? A little bit of extension to that question is Idaho pulls out a close win in overtime. SIU's defense was huge. Did the Saluki defense expose the Evangel offense? And is SDSU licking their chops at a potential Idaho matchup? What do you think about the game this past weekend and looking forward without making a prediction?
Albany just beat the crap out of Richmond. That was fun to watch. I know you love it since you're a JMU guy, right? I know you're a big Richmond fan over there in Harrisburg. But Albany looked fantastic. They absolutely did whatever they wanted to Richmond. It was a really good defensive effort. Maybe I was a little bit shocked, and it's a bummer because this is one of those programs where Flo didn't let me watch the CAA as much as I normally would. So I didn't know what to expect from any of these CAA teams. Do they have a shot versus Idaho in the Kibbe Dome? Yeah. I think if you're a top 15, you have a shot. I don't know if they're going to actually be able to pull it off, but if you're a top 15, just like Albany is 100% a top 15 team, you have a shot against Idaho in the Kibbe Dome. Weber State was able to make some adjustments, and then, they took Idaho, kind of crushed their dreams of maybe having a top 4 seed or a top 3 seed. I forgot, what seed is Idaho? Are they 4?
They are the 4 seed.
So
they would have been a 3 seed potentially if they, didn't lose to Weber State. So, Idaho, they're dynamic. They got a lot of playmakers on offense, but that Albany defense has looked pretty fantastic, at least the last few weeks. And Richmond has a decent offense. So it was pretty impressive to watch them just absolutely shut down everything Richmond was doing to them. I mean, that was kind of a blowout. Them in the YSU game, it wasn't really close at all until maybe the end. But yeah, Albany definitely has a shot.
I'm really interested because, is anybody across the FCS landscape going to admit that they know a ton about Albany? Jamie might be one of the ones who really probably knows the most, but honestly, people are just going with a hunch in that team. It kind of reminds me of Maine, the year they got to the semis with you, Kylor, against Eastern Washington, where it's like, wow, Maine's looking good and they're rolling and look at them. But did anybody really know a lot about them? So I'm interested to see if Albany coming out of the CAA is as good as advertised, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not that sold that Idaho, even at home, is maybe the monster or the 4 seed that we think they are, because it seems like every time somebody comes into that Kibbe Dome, sure, they won one, they lost one, but man, they are surviving on just the smallest thread every single time. Jamie, what should we know about this Albany team that should be impressive or worrisome for these Idaho fans?
3 names you should know: Dylan Kelly, Anton Yunkai, AJ Simon. All of them will be giving Woods and McCoy hell all game long. Those 3 guys have combined for, 50 tackles for loss and 29 sacks.
Gee,
Albany's defense lives in the backfield. Now, Idaho's a great defense too. Albany's got a good offense. They got Reese Poffenbarger, who's a very good quarterback. They have an okay run game. They use 3 or 4 different guys in the run game. But Poffenbarger can be a little inaccurate, could turn the ball over. So that's where Idaho's going to have to take advantage. But I give Albany way more than a fighting shot in this game. I'm not going to make a pick because I think we're probably going to pick later. But the Potato Spuds might be in a little bit of trouble. I think Albany is a lot better than anybody realizes because we haven't been able to see them.
Yeah.
But that defense is nasty. It's the FCS version of the JMU defense. It gets after you.
Oh, here we go.
Whoa.
It is. It is.
Here we go.
Oh, in Texas. I'm playing Air Force. And I got to say,
damn right.
Something.
Same colors, too, by the way.
See, there you go. The Great Danes. The much better dog, too. I'm just saying. And also, Giovanni McCoy is kind of having a sophomore slump. I know I got called out by most Idaho fans, about week 3, when I said he didn't just, he wasn't playing like a top 10 quarterback. He just hasn't this year. He's making some good throws. He's doing a lot of things, but he is not this. I mean, last year Giovanni McCoy looked better. I think they opened up the playbook, kind of let him take over, and he's making some mistakes. He's not the same type of quarterback that I think we saw last year or that we expected to see this year, especially with all the weapons that Idaho has. So if Albany's defense can get in their face, get to McCoy, make him scramble, sure, he's going to make some plays down the field because his wide receivers are just so fantastic. But at the end of the day, if you can get in his face and make him make some errors, he's made some errors. I think he only has like 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, something like that. So you're looking at one of the Albany wide receivers that has about as many touchdowns as McCoy has thrown this year. And if you can shut down Hatton with double coverage, he's really struggling because Hatton's about, 90% of McCoy's offense right now. I mean, that's what it seems like.
And I don't want to take anything away from Idaho's defense because they got after Southern Illinois, who has struggled on offense off and on throughout the year. More of a run game. Baker, I just didn't think he had a great game. He didn't really a great season. He's had spots here and there, but I don't think Southern Illinois played their best offense this season. Their defense definitely kept them in a lot of games, including against South Dakota State.
Yeah.
They kept them in the game yesterday, got on, they got to overtime, but Idaho kept plugging and they pulled it out. I just think that so far Albany's looked like a more complete team, and they're really going to give Idaho hell as long as the travel doesn't really mess them up.
Are they pretty good at stopping the run?
Yeah, they're pretty good to stop the run. Let's see, I had the stats up. I think
because Idaho is running very well this year.
Yeah, I think they get a lot. Like I said, get a lot of TFLs. They only allow 76 yards a game on the ground.
Oh shit! Okay, should be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna see top of the CAA is for real against what most people view as still a really good Big Sky team.
Go Great Danes!
Kylor's on the chaos train, as are many people. Ron Lowney,
just real quick, Matt. That's 75 yards a game that I was, or 76, whatever I said, is first rushing defense in the entire FCS by 15 yards over the 5 game.
Nuts. Well, that kind of leads into an interesting question. Ron Lowney here, he's live with us on YouTube, says it will be SDSU and Montana. That's what he's calling, which leads into our second question of the Big Seven, which is from Mr. Brandon Owens. Love Brandon so much. And he says, basically, how much more likely is it to get an SDSU Montana championship now? Interesting question. Did anything change? And especially with things going chalk for the most part outside of the Bison outlier. Does this give you guys more confidence that this is actually the matchup we're going to see? Me personally, I think this is the one that we're going to get. And one of them's a guarantee, South Dakota State. But boy, Montana looks like an absolute firestorm monster. Like that was, I think some people, we knew they'd kill Delaware, but that was just like an absolute all-out butt kicking that you just see from teams who almost seem destined to get to Frisco. And the snow didn't help anything. So what do you think, Jamie? Is this making you more confident based off of how it fell, basically chalk, that this is going to be the matchup?
It did. Just the way Montana just surgically took care of Delaware, who did not finish the season well at all. They just fell right off the face of the earth like they have the last couple of years. I didn't give them much of a chance to, in this game, and Montana pretty much had it salted away early. I think Furman will perform much better than Delaware. Furman is never going to be that team that flashes at you. They're very solid. They're going to score decent. They're going to not allow much. So this is going to be another defensive battle. I do agree with Kevin there. I mean, Furman is good. Delaware was not. I think that we're going to find out more about Montana this week than we did this past week. Also, there was, the snow, but both teams had to play in it. And I don't feel like that really impacted the game all that much other than maybe slowing the defenses down a touch. And if that was a slowed down Montana offense, then I'd say look out.
Yeah, is there any really – so Furman obviously is going against Montana, but I don't think NDSU going against South Dakota moves the needle at all to make you worry more for Montana at home. I know, Kylor, you're maybe a little bit more worrisome about Montana in ways, but going chalk on the other side of the bracket when you look at it, I don't think that Idaho and Albany and or Villanova make me think any less that South Dakota State is going to lose. I know how good Albany looked. Idaho has not been impressive to me, and I never thought Villanova would ever have a chance against South Dakota State. So going with the opponents, I don't feel, based off the question, that SDSU has any less of a chance to get there. And then on the other side of it, this is probably who Montana was always going to see. I don't know if South Dakota, who has to be so defensive reliant, is going to go into Montana and beat them. I don't have faith the Bison do either. And I don't know, Furman could be interesting, but God, the Grizz are just playing so good. So I feel very confident that this is the matchup we're going to get. Kylor, it would be chaos in Frisco with the Grizz and the Rabbits. We would have a ton of fun as innocent bystanders, but
no,
is it inevitable or what?
I mean, it's got to be the easy betting favorite right now, but that side of the bracket is just so much more difficult than the other side. Just like you kind of mentioned, Matt, I don't think anyone's really going toe to toe with South Dakota State. I actually think maybe Villanova has the best shot, which is weird to say on that side of the bracket. So we'll see this weekend, but I don't think it's going to be that close. Now, on the other side, I mean, you can't count out North Dakota State. I would be very nervous if I was South Dakota playing against them. I think I said that last week. They are the one non-seed you do not want to play. But Furman, man, their defense has been playing pretty dang good the last 5 or so weeks.
Yeah, it's why they've survived the quarterback problems, really.
Yeah, and I don't think, let's see, I don't even know if they've given up 20 points in the last 5 weeks. I think most of them are single-digit scores, too, maybe 3 of the 5. And there's still something about Montana that I get it. All of us have admitted they're the 2 seed. They're playing the best. But there's something about Montana where it's just, is that offense from the first half of the year going to show up? You need a really strong defensive team to maybe make that team show up. And Furman right now is that defensive team. Now, do they have the juices go with Montana, especially on the special team side? Can they hold Montana's offense? Are they going to be able to score enough versus Montana's defense? Those are like the big question marks because Montana's defense is fantastic. But I don't know. I'm actually more excited about this game with Montana than maybe I would be next week unless North Dakota State wins. I think Montana kind of handles South Dakota, which is weird to say, but North Dakota State gives me a little more question marks. But yeah, this Furman team, if they can expose Montana a little bit, play really strong defense, make this a defensive battle, they have a shot. But yeah, it's looking like the betting odds are going to be South Dakota State versus Montana and Frisco, which is going to be an insane atmosphere.
I believe Tyler Huff is 19-1 as a starter for Furman, so don't count him out quite yet, like you said.
Yeah, but that's playing like the Kevin Marshall teams where it's like, you know, the Citadel, Samford.
At least you said the.
Yeah, well, of course I say the, or else he'll send me something in the mail, and I don't want to see that. So.
Well, since you're on the topic, Kylor, of Montana here, Mike Hallgren says, are you all ready to admit you picked the wrong Montana team this year?
What?
Okay, first, a little bit
about?
of defense. A little bit of defense, which Montana's really good at. Who is you all? Because besides the dark web of Montana Grizz forums, which probably said they were winning the Natty in July, which is 0.06% of the fan base, nobody was picking Montana to be better than Montana State in this game. And that was never, ever happening. Beyond that, there's this crazy concept. I know we all have to pick sides nowadays in society, right? Like you choose your team and then you never move because that's what we do. It's almost like new information can be gathered, a quarterback change can be made, an adjustment can happen, and we can evolve and realize, whoa, something has changed. I should change with it. Therefore, yes, initially everybody picked the wrong Montana, but once they made those quarterback changes and those adjustments, dang, man, the Grizz have been on fire. We've been saying that for 8 weeks. Yeah, so you guys need to subscribe on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify and listen to our early podcast to hear the evolution to the love for the Grizz, which they now have, including this hat I'm wearing. So how much better can one of you two say that? I guess I don't know how many more times we got to hammer it.
It's so ridiculous because this isn't week 5. If you've listened to anything anyone in the world is saying the last 5, 6, 7 weeks, everyone is giving Montana props. We said they're going to be the 2 seed, right? We said that they're better than Montana State after this. I mean, Jamie picked him, but if you guys don't know that, at the end he went, oh, I don't have a good feeling about this one. I think Montana's going to win. He said that offline. So this is one of those things where it's like, guys, yes, the first 5 weeks Montana was not playing well. If you look at it, if you're if you're biased, you can still look at that and go, Montana played pretty bad the first 5 weeks, lost to a bad NAU team, struggled versus Butler, who was not a Pioneer League champ, struggled versus Ferris, who couldn't even get it out of week 1 of the D2 playoffs, right? This is not the same Montana team, and we have given you props. The only people that are still worried about Montana from week 5 are Montana fans. Guess what? You're good. You're the number 2 seed. Shut up. You're playing well. We all just said the last 5 weeks, like Montana is dangerous ever since they beat Idaho. And it was like, yeah, you just saw a different curve. Even the UC Davis game, you're like, all right, Montana's finding a rhythm. They made a quarterback change. This is not the same team. This is why Jamie voted Montana in pretty much every category of any type of stats award. Bobby Houck, Coach of the Year, because of the turnaround he gave him, right? Just because we don't like you and your stupid fan base doesn't mean we won't give you damn respect. So you know what? Go to the dentist, straighten out those teeth. This is a damn good team that everyone, even South Dakota State, should be fearful to play.
Ooh, South Dakota State should be fearful to play. Dang. Okay, now we're getting up there. Ron Lowry says, but SDSU is just better. Jamie,
They are.
some props to the Grizz here. They're the hot team, right?
They are. And guess what? We've been right about the damn Grizz all season long, like you just said. When they sucked in the beginning, guess what? We were right. They sucked. Guess what? Montana State was better at that point. And then this is why Bobby Houck got my number 1 vote.
Jamie,
because he realized they were changing. Yeah.
Sorry to jump in on you because I'll forget this point if I don't say it right now. Do you think the Montana Grizz, Jamie, go to Brookings in the early season with that quarterback and how they were playing and lose on a last-second play?
No.
Not a chance. Get annihilated. But they could win in Frisco. They could win now in Frisco. They could go beat SDSU, possibly. I will still pick the Bunnies, but they're probably the team that most likely could do it. So crazy. Sorry to interrupt you. That made me click there.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. At that time, Montana State was the better Montana team. As the season went on, things changed, things happened. The biggest thing that happened is Bobby Houck adjusted. Brian just told me that they did change the play caller on offense, not along with bringing on McDowell and giving more touches to Eli Gilman. Guess what? Those couple of names, like Kylor said, number 1 on my ballot for a reason. We've been right about Montana all along. It's just you knuckleheads up in Missoula that want to continue to call me biased every week because I didn't put them where you wanted them. I put them where it was right. And when they deserve to be up there, I put them up there. You didn't get mad when I put them number 2 after they beat Washington a couple of years ago. Enjoy your team. They're going to continue to play. I'm going to continue not to root for them because of that kind of crap. But congratulations, Montana. You're an excellent team, and you're going to keep winning.
And we'll see you in Frisco. We're not going to watch you and your cousin get married, but we'll see you in Frisco.
Oh yeah, we are coming to those Montana parties out on the evenings before, and we'll see you at the tailgate.
That'll be a good time.
And if you throw a beer can at us, we're just going to drink it. Nobody's going to be upset.
Do not pressure them. They'll do it.
All right, guys. Well, in terms of
send me a Grizz shirt, I might even wear it.
Oh, let's see it.
Or wipe my ass with it.
Boy, I don't know. Grizz or rabbits? What do I got to wear? I think that's an easy call for me. All right, guys. Dustin Helton, Peter Belgardi here are asking questions. What's more likely, a rematch of last year's national championship or an all South Dakota title game, especially after yesterday's games? And does NDSU have it in them to beat USD? So here we go. The Bison boogeymen are still alive, and they're the ones who are coming through that aren't seeded, and they don't have much travel to go down there to Vermilion this weekend. What are your thoughts about NDSU after what was, really, well, there's my thoughts, I guess. Thoughts about NDSU after a absolute insane game that had probability changes going back and forth. The bias fan of me came out. I was screaming, listening to it on the radio with my boys. It was great. But what are your thoughts about NDSU's chances to go to USD, which has a really good defense, and they're going to be playing home against a full throat crowd? How are you feeling about that one there, Mr. Neal?
Does South Dakota have a D4 kicker?
I don't think so.
Well, if they don't, then hey, North Dakota State has a shot. No, I mean, this is a North Dakota State team that I don't think people want to see twice. especially South Dakota. Now, South Dakota, you can say Montana has the second best resume, but really South Dakota probably has the second best resume or pretty damn close to it. They've played extremely well. Now, the thing that kind of ties me back to is when I watched that first game, right? It was kind of a night and day difference from the first half to the second half. And if there was 5 quarters, I think NDSU wins by 14. They were just, especially in the fourth quarter, clawing away, and they just looked like the much better team. Unfortunately, football isn't 5 quarters. It's 4 quarters. But NDSU, this redemption tour, they just broke the record for most playoff wins. Now they want to kind of do work to all the Dakota teams that embarrassed them in the regular season, that made every single NDSU fan want to throw away their jerseys, take away their coach, take away everything, start rooting for the Hawkeyes. I don't know. But and Matt's crying in the rain, Chandler Bing style. So I don't know. I mean, this is just one of those teams I don't want to face twice. That's why I even said going into Montana State, I think I picked NDSU. I think I picked, unfortunately, Southern Illinois, which didn't work. But, yeah, they definitely have a shot. This is going to be a good game either way. There's just something about South Dakota that's just, I don't know. It's probably just because they were so bad the last few years where it just makes me not trust them, even though they arguably do have the second best resume, that they did beat everyone outside of South Dakota State. Just there's something about this NDSU team that I'm leaning towards wins. We'll pick our games later, but yeah, they have a shot. I don't think it's going to be an all South Dakota natty, though.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be all South Dakota natty either. I mean, NDSU is going to win this weekend, and then they're going to get demolished against Montana. And then the South Dakota Jackrabbits will win by 10 in Frisco. I mean, that's the rest of the season. That's exactly how it's playing out. That's in my humble opinion. I could be wrong, but here's a crazy thing. Everyone talks about USG's defense, and they played great against NDSU. NDSU had one of the worst slow starts I've ever seen. But North Dakota State's coming there. It's a repeat game against a South Dakota team that this is not SDSU. They haven't had the Bison's number. And in terms of total defense, it doesn't always tell the whole story. They're always about South Dakota's defense. First off, they got annihilated against South Dakota State. Like, absolutely hammered when they played them. And NDSU didn't look much better, but they still held their own in some areas. South Dakota's overall total defense is 21st in the nations, and North Dakota State's is 13th. So, like, the idea that this is some sort of power defense versus power offense, like NDSU's offense looks good. The Bison defense, despite its struggles, and they give up a ton of yards to Montana State, I'm not sold that the South Dakota offense, without a ton of help from that South Dakota defense, can win this game. And the way the Bison have adjusted to throw the rock to Raja Nelson's and Eli Green's, I mean, it doesn't deserve fireworks, but the way that they've been tossing the rock, look at what was everybody saying last night about Southern Illinois? It was the Southern Illinois defense. Oh my gosh, the Southern Illinois defense. Holy crap. They held South Dakota State to 17 points. Look how good this defense is against Idaho. All North Dakota State did was put 30 points up on them. And that North Dakota State offense is really what gave them an opportunity to beat the Bobcats yesterday. I think the Bison are playing better ball. I'm not picking them to go to Frisco, but I do think that they're going to go in and win in Vermilion. But Jamie, are we doubting the Coyotes too much? Is this a team that deserves the respect here?
They deserve some respect, but on the other side, Cam Miller's going to have to play better than he did yesterday. They didn't need him because the run game was phenomenal. 66 yards is not going to cut it. Now, I do think that NDSU is playing way better than they were when they lost that game earlier in the season, and that was in Frisco. They always play Frisco. In Fargo. It was actually in real Fargo. But yeah, it's hard to beat a team twice. I'm not going to give away my pick. I think we're looking at a tough game, and I might flip a coin. But Cam Miller's going to play a lot better. I don't think those running lanes are going to be as wide open as they were yesterday. I was very surprised at how poorly Montana State game plan for the run, because they didn't seem ready for it.
Well, in terms of being ready, that is definitely an important thing. And we could talk about this all night about the Bison. But being ready, it matters when you're going up to the FBS. And so we figured in the Big Seven, we better talk about one of the blue bloods of the FCS, the Fighting Blue Hens, Delaware, as they are on their way up to CUSA. Joe Gass, one of the best FCS fans, best guys on the page, I hope he sticks around through the FBS transition. He reminded me of our classics like Jacob Martinez and some of the others who've moved on to the FBS but still stick around. He says, what's your opinion on the Delaware announcement to the move to CUSA? I think they aren't ready and not happy, but I'm just a season ticket holder, not a major donor. So, wow, I know everyone's opinions on this, but we have to start with Jamie. His team made the jump. He knows the CAA. What are your thoughts on Delaware hitting CUSA?
I think Delaware is going to be a top 3 team in the CUSA right away. I think they've got good facilities. They'll be able to recruit. I assume Ryan Carty's still going to be the coach. I think he does a pretty good job. They're going to have to obviously beef up. They're going to have to get their scholarships up. There's not a lot of depth there in a lot of times. I think they're kind of ready. You got to go when they say, hey, you want to come on up at this point, because it's going to be even harder. I mean, I guess they're going to pay the $5 million or whatever it is. I think they're ready. I think they'll be fine. CUSA kind of stinks, but that's where the opening was. Dustin's exactly right. This one makes sense. And I would say Jacksonville State makes sense. Like, they were kind of ready to. They've got good facilities. Jacksonville State held their own. I think Jacksonville State will be fine. Sam Houston is going to be a dumpster fire. They're going to be that team that just stinks. I mean, hey, CUSA got their champion into the New Year's Six, but I guess when you have the weakest damn schedule, anybody could go undefeated against that.
And yeah, honestly, I like Dustin Helton, the Revs comment there. That's the first ad CUSA made that actually helps with football is, hey, you're actually adding kind of a blue blood brand, and this is their bread and butter. They love investing in football. Kylor, you've echoed it before. You believe when you get a chance to jump, you go, even if it maybe looks like a dumpster fire.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I trash on CUSA more than probably anyone outside of Lawrence Smith. But even I would be super happy to go there. Not because they're good. I wouldn't fake it like all the CSU fans. I go, no, this is a shitty conference and actually probably a little bit of a step down competition-wise, but it's FBS. I think Delaware's fine. I think Delaware would be fine in the Sun Belt too. This is a program that has resources. They're going to be the second richest Conference USA athletic budget instantly. Right now, it's just Liberty because they keep kind of their numbers private, so I wasn't able to look. But other than that, I mean,
a lot of money.
Yeah, Conference USA is like a good FCS conference in terms of resources, athletic budget, and all of that. And Delaware is at the top of the FCS. They're going to be fine. They'll be fine in the Sun Belt. And the Sun Belt is much better than Conference USA. So it's a smart move by Delaware. I don't really like the non-regional aspect. They're going to be a little bit far away from most Conference USA. It'd be way cooler if they were in the Sun Belt. I would actually love that more. But yeah, if an FBS conference is asking you to join and you have the money, you have the resources, you do it, and you're going to be successful. Sam Houston, I don't think made the right decision. Kennesaw State, as of right now, I don't think made the right decision. Jacksonville State did. Delaware did. They all have the resources. They all have the facilities. They're in a good recruiting bed. So, yeah, Delaware's going to be absolutely fine. This is a good ad for CS Conference USA. Delaware's probably going to be a top 2 team, top 3 team instantly, year 1. And I think after a few years, they're probably even going to be able to take down Liberty from time to time. So, yeah, if I'm Delaware, I'm happy. Cool. I'm going to go to probably, the Potato Bunyan Bowl or whatever. I have no clue. Be 7-5. It is what it is. Lose every Power 5 team. But you're going to be fine versus Conference USA. You're going to be fine versus the MAC. You're going to be fine versus the bottom, actually, 2/3 of the Sun Belt. Yeah, Delaware will be fine.
Wouldn't go that far.
Sun Belt sucks. I'm sorry. It's overrated. You got 12 teams because no one plays anyone. Piece of shit conference too.
Don't you wish you were in it?
Yeah, I do. 100%. I wish I was in any of them. Give me the MAC. I don't care. Give me the CFL. I don't care.
And here's the thing, like as an NDSU fan, like we went to the Great West Conference was a thing, we were flying out to Cal Poly and doing a bunch of crazy things to make that jump to the FCS. So if you can get your foot in the door at the next level, if you feel like you're built for it, then you can find success if you're a good program and you invest in the right way. Also, this is a great comment here. It's pronounced Albany. I guarantee I've been saying Albany the whole time. Have I been saying Albany?
Albany?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely say Albany.
It's that I figured you freaking Northern and P&W guys just made it Al instead of all because there was only one L.
I'm going to defend the Midwest here. This is a Matt Frazee brain problem. This is not a generic Midwestern.
I don't think it is, bud. I think
this is just what's not up in here, you know.
And also, it's no one knows about Albany outside of when you're learning your capitals. If it wasn't for the capitals, no one would even know that city exists. So shut up.
I just learned that it's a capital, so that's good.
Wait.
All right. Hey,
North Dakota education is about as good as the internet.
I don't know why people listen to me. I say it all the time, but I'm not wrong that South Dakota State's good.
Kylor, you're wrong. They're actually not a capital, and all of my third grade education is going to go out the window.
Oh, well, we're more educated than most third graders on this podcast. And Alex Kenkel is one of our favorites, South Dakota State fan. Undoubtedly, we'll see him down there. Jack Rabbit Illustrated guy. Of the 8 teams left in the current state of college football in the portal, who's on their last dance, who's just getting started, even if they were to lose Saturday, and who's an emerging dynasty? So when you look at the final 8, you got teams like South Dakota State, you've got the Grizz, SU, USD. You basically got the Valley Big Sky CAA tournament here. Which teams are you most confident in of the final 8 that they can, let's just go with continued success or build off of dynasty stuff? And I think obviously South Dakota State's an easy one. I don't think anyone thinks North Dakota State's dropping off massively. But what do you think about the Grizz beyond this season and some of these other teams that are maybe outliers like Albany? So what do you think there, Jamie Williams?
I think Albany is a TBD just because they're going to have to continue to recruit at the quarterback position. They're not going to be that hotbed where everybody wants to go play. Gatusta's done a great job. He's been able to get a couple of really good quarterbacks. Villanova, they'll be fine. They're going to be a team that finishes in the quarterfinals or second round just about every year. But they're that emerging dynasty, nobody else other than who it already is. The Grizz maybe can kind of get back to prominence, but yeah, Idaho, pretty good team. They'll go as long as they keep Eck, basically. South Dakota, Bob Nielsen's done a good job, but he was almost fired after last year. Had a great year this year. I think they probably yo-yo, just happened to hit on it this year. So, yeah, I mean, the 2 Dakotas are probably your most likely dynasty, whereas everybody else is, wait and see.
I think Furman's got a shot to maintain just some resemblance because just looking at, I knew that I wanted to look up the stats specifically, but I knew that they've done pretty well in the past. 15 conference titles. They have the national title, 1988. I know it's back in the day.
I'm going to say, y'all weren't even born when they won it.
So we were both born in 1988.
1989 for me, so I wasn't there.
Okay. Oh, I'm older than that.
Yeah, you were crapping a diaper.
But here's the thing, Jamie. Playoff time. Here's the thing. Playoff 20 times with a record of 20-8. They were runner-up to national championships in 1985 and 2001. They won it all in 1988. And their last playoff appearances here, just going, I know it's old now because I'm a millennial, but they made the playoffs 2001, 2002, 2004, 2005, 2006, 13, 17, 19, 22, 23. So to me, that's at least a program that is a program and maybe can keep some consistency.
Yeah,
so
Furman will be fine. I mean, playing in the SoCon will help.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Idaho, Furman, and Villanova will all be programs. Idaho actually, I think, has a decent shot even without Eck because they do have at least the resources at this level to be a top-tier team. Furman, I just don't agree with you, Matt. For one, I mean, they're a school of like 2,000 kids. It is really tough to create some type of dynasty with 2,000 kids. Sure, they could be the face of the SoCon, but this isn't the SoCon of the 2005s, 2007s. Right? This is a completely different SoCon team. And yes, they won the national title back when I was 0 years old. So it is what it is. But I mean, Furman's a good squad, and I hope they keep improving because the FCS is better when the CA is good. The FCS is better when the SoCon is good. The FCS is better when the Big Sky is good, and the FCS is better when the Missouri Valley or Gateway, whatever you want to call it. These are the 4 conferences that you want to be good, right? They have a lot of blue bloods in these conferences. These are the conferences you want to be good. But I mean, Villanova, if they just took 10% of that basketball revenue and put it in football, they would be the best team in the FCS by a landslide. They're in a good recruiting area. They got a lot of money in that athletic revenue. But outside of the teams that are left, sure, the two Dakotas, because I don't think South Dakota is in prime condition to be any type of dynasty, especially when you have to be in state against South Dakota State, who does look like the next dynasty. Not going to count out Montana, even without Houck. They're finally putting it together, right, after a very long time. And this is the Montana team that we have expected to see since 2009. And they just really haven't put it together. We'll see if they win this weekend. But, yeah, probably South Dakota State, North Dakota State, and Montana. And then maybe right outside of that, you have Idaho in the distance looking in, because they at least do have the resources to be very competitive on the West Coast of the country.
And before we get out of this question, just from Facebook user here, because they don't got their name labeled, that's okay. Furman doesn't have enough graduate programs to get grad transfers and academic restrictions. Extremely restrict ability to get transfers in the portal era. 2,600 undergrad students with a couple
they're tiny, man. They're a
of grad programs.
Little school.
But here's the thing.
Really tough. The SoCon is Wofford, Furman. They're all small schools, man.
But here's the thing. What about the recruiting classes of Furman? Because every offseason, that makes me have some confidence that they're going to, go all the way.
Name 4 people from the last 3 recruiting classes.
Okay, I'll just go last names. Anderson, Johnson, and let's see.
What's crazy is there's not one of them either. And you just picked the 4 most common names.
Yep, the 4 most common names in the world. Most watch or must watch to watching paint dry is our last question of the Big 7 from Cody Werlinger. What matchups would you recommend for someone to watch this weekend? We kind of nailed this on the last podcast. We were like, even the first round, we were like, UND Sac State, it's going to be good. We were like, Idaho SIU, it's going to be good. So I think we are a good resource for what's going to be a good game. And what does your gut tell you there, Jamie Williams, for what's the must-watch game of the week? And what is paint dry, my man?
The best game is going to be Idaho, Albany. The worst game is going to be SDSU, Villanova. And the other 2 probably somewhere in the middle. Probably say the North Dakota State, South Dakota game will be the second best game, and Montana Furman the third.
Jordan says 4 most common North Dakota white dude names. Oh, that's so true. All I could think of was super bad, and most common name in the world, asshole.
Muhammad.
Yeah, Muhammad. Yeah, Jordan, that is well said. Also, your last name is Franzen, which is close to mine, so respect. Kylor, what are the matchups here?
I mean, are you asking what's going to be exciting, or what do I want to watch first? What do I don't?
Yeah, if you're a UND fan and you're on your couch because your team's not playing anymore, what game should you tune into here?
Well, what you're going to want to tune into is anything that is SoCon and CA related, because the Big Sky sucks and the Missouri Valley sucks. So you're going to want to watch Furman beat the crap out of Montana, and you're going to want to watch Albany go to the Kibbe Dome and show them real footballs played outside. They're going to play them in the parking lot. The other 2 games, yeah, I actually love Villanova, to be honest. I've said to Lawrence when I first started the page, even with him way back in the day, that Villanova was my favorite team on the East Coast. I love them, probably because Eastern Washington beat them in the semifinals when I was shirtless. So that was a good time. I have a good memory from them, so I've loved them ever since. But that South Dakota State Villanova game doesn't intrigue me at all. And it's sad because this South Dakota versus North Dakota State game doesn't really intrigue me that much. Even though South Dakota just beat North Dakota State, it was a very close competitive game in the last quarter. It looked like North Dakota State was surging. That game just doesn't really interest me because I think it's going to go a completely different way. So, yeah, the Albany versus Idaho game is probably, in my opinion, the most intriguing because Idaho has struggled a little bit. Their offense is not what it should have been. The defense plays tough. And then you're going against an Albany team that, the CAA needs to be a power. So you're playing the best team from the CAA, and they're going down. They've got a really elite defense. They got a very competent offense, and they can give this Idaho team some trouble. So that's probably the one I want to watch the most, is that Albany versus Idaho game, and screw Chris Hammond. Go Great Danes.
It'll be fun to watch them all, but some of them may get out of hand early. And yep, I'm with you guys on everything you said. You're not going to get a lot of disagreement from me there. You could get disagreement from me, though, every time we leave the Big Seven and we roll into Brian Thompson's famous segment, some taco bets.
Taco King, coming to you from bright and sunny Fargo, North Dakota. It's time for a taco bet, and time for you losers to pay up.
Low key, just
I
loving
still like
that.
how he calls us losers.
Yeah, every time. He did that in one take. He did one take. He sent it to me. I was like, dude, perfect. All right, guys, getting into our taco bet here. We're talking about the weather because Montana went crazy with the snow right at kickoff. And this is a great one from Derek Madario. He wants to know taco bet over or under snow games in the playoffs, 2.5 snow games remaining. So here's
What?
the thing.
Wait, there's 2 dome games left.
That's the thing. So we have, this is actually really good because you're basically going to predict South Dakota State and Montana.
We got 3 rounds left.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, I thought this
Frisco-
was just this round.
No,
I
this
was
is
like, come on,
whole
this
thing.
doesn't even make mathematical sense.
whole thing.
Okay.
It's
gotcha.
so this is you're gonna have an outdoors game in Brookings and in with the Grizz, and if
And
they
it
both
snowed in
win,
Frisco once.
and it did snow in Frisco once, so you've got 5 shots. So you're basically saying, is it going to snow? And we'll just say snow enough to where like it snows for a quarter, and then there's the white powder on the ground, like that will count. So
What about a mound of snow where it didn't snow all day, but there's still a mound of snow in the corner of an end zone?
I think we got to go with if
Snow
the
during the
snow has, even at kickoff, there's enough of that snow and ice still on the field, they weren't able to clear it, or it's happening during. I think that's a snow game. I think that's what we got to call this here. So what do you think, Jamie? Over under with 5 chances at it, and can't discount Frisco because that weather can be junk.
Yeah, we got 4 chances this weekend, then another 2. So we got 7. So we got to get 3 out of 7. That's gonna be tough. It's gonna come down to Frisco. I'm gonna say under.
Just under, I suppose. Kylor, over under 2.5 snow games with 5 options on the table.
Well, since I got to keep traveling to now Wisconsin, I'm gonna hope for the under, just because I don't want to be in it. I moved down south for a reason. Well, let's say, I mean, Montana's probably gonna have snow this weekend. South Dakota State's probably gonna have a little bit of snow. So that's where my big question on is, if there's snow in just like the corner where it snowed the day prior, but it's not really a snow game, that changes things. The snow during the game right at kickoff where the field is a little snowy, I don't know, man. Just because I want to be different from Jamie, we're going to go the over, but I really don't think so. This is a bad taco. Brian, I'm buying you tacos.
Yeah, I'm going to go the under too. I think it is supposed to be actually kind of warm. Not warm, but the weather hasn't been bad up in the Dakotas so far. So I'm going to go with the under with that one, and we'll see what happens. Boy, the payouts for the taco bets, though, they're coming quicker than we realize. We are really coming close.
Did I win all of them besides this one?
From my tracker, Kylor has won every taco
That's what I
bet
thought.
in the history of humanity.
That's what I thought.
So, all right, guys. Well, we've covered the big ones, the long ones. Let's get to the quick ones.
Just because your question is answered quickly doesn't mean we don't care. These are the quick hit questions of the week.
Jamie Williams, I think we got to start with you, my man. Great question here from Michael Otamandi. He wants to know, did Montana have an easier corner of the bracket or South Dakota State? Delaware and Furman seem like a fairly easy path to me, but everyone keeps talking about how they fast-tracked the Jacks. What do you think? Easier corner now that we're looking into it a little further.
I still say South Dakota State had an easier quarter. I mean, Delaware's probably better than Mercer, and Villanova and Furman might be a push. I'd say the Jacks still have a little bit tougher quadrant.
Just
The Jacks have a tougher quadrant?
tougher
Or easier quadrant. Sorry, easier. I'm not good with antonyms.
Not too bad, man. Jason Plotkin wants to know the video leak situation at McNeese. Did the other schools have a responsibility to report that info was available to McNeese or Southland? Yeah, this is quite the interesting situation. Apparently, there's a Spygate scenario going on down in the Southland with McNeese accusing other teams like Southeastern Louisiana, Danny Johnson's squad, of basically pulling a Spygate and knowing the names of the calls and calling things before it's happening. Seems pretty intense. I don't know how much will go into it, honestly. Will the NCAA even pay enough attention between these schools, or will it fall flat? I mean, Kylor, do you see anything kind of coming of this actually being substantial?
No, for one, the NCAA doesn't care about the FCS. For two, McNeese has been bad for a few years. So, like, come on. I think you can watch other people's film McNeese, the opposite, and you're still probably not going to win a game. You've been bad, so who cares? You sucked anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation that's probably not going to get a lot of spotlight. Chris Hammond says, how do you count to 8? I count like this: 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2000.
What a dick.
What about 16?
Huh?
What about 16?
Yeah,
No, he skips after.
Jamie, your mic
He
keeps
only goes
cutting
at
out.
8, Jamie.
You just can't hear that one.
Yeah, he only goes at 8, not 9, not 10. He only goes 8.
I count South Dakota State, Montana, like that, and then there's no 6 in this particular count to 8.
Yeah, that just does not exist. So, in all seriousness, if I do see something, or if I'm trying to get to 8, I usually count in 2. So I guess if that's a real legit question, I just try to get there quicker. Is FAMU the best? Oh my gosh, I just broke the Florida A&M. Did they the best HBCU football team we've seen in the last few years, the last decade, says Jason Plotkin. I'm rocking this right here. I don't know. I wore this on purpose, Jason, because of your question. I think those NCAA teams, they had some good squads those years. Really good. Disrespected squads that beat teams like Jacksonville State, people were high on. And I think those Aggies teams could have got pretty close. But you guys were saying before the pods, Jamie, props to this Florida A&M team. And I mean, what they've done this year is really outstanding. So shout out to the Rattlers. Jacob Martinez, our Kennesaw State fan, there were only 4 conferences represented in round 2 of the playoffs this year, when for over a decade, there have always been at least 6. Great little Easter egg there, Jacob. Sign of a decline within the FCS? What do you think there, Jamie Williams?
Well, when you're talking about 6, you probably had Sam Houston and Jacksonville State. So that counted as 6 conferences.
Kennesaw.
There's been 3 that have, in Kennesaw here and there. There's been 3 that really dominated, and it's shown in who showed up in Frisco. Unfortunately, it's been the CAA, it's been the Big Sky, and it's been the Missouri Valley. And there's been a couple of times where it's been all Missouri Valley. So I don't know that there's necessarily a decline there, other than the attrition. I mean, the Southland lost its good team, so they're trash. The Big South
is the
trash.
Best.
OVCs. What?
Put my name back on, Matt. Put my name back on.
Yeah,
There it is.
I keep
call this trash again.
I keep forgetting half of their teams made the playoffs this year.
You're in the trash fun belt. The Big South is the GOAT. Put respect on their name.
The GOAT Big South. They're coming back. Watch out for them. Ron Lowney says the FCS is in trouble in the comments here on our live show. Will the mid-tier of the FCS recover, or is there a sign of decreasing parity between FCS conferences? So kind of another bouncing off question here in the quick hits. Just another final thought there from you, Kylor, in terms of, are we going to see more Extreme Valley and Big Sky takeover, or anything?
I don't know. I mean, this is kind of what it has been, like Jamie just said. Yeah, you had a Southland team who was pretty good for a while. Sam Houston State, got to give them props. Kennesaw State kind of burst at the seams. Jacksonville State was okay until they played in the postseason. Then they actually weren't that good. So, no, I think we're actually just going to get what we normally see. And maybe there's just a few less contenders from some of the other conferences. But overall, it's still about the same to me. I mean, no one talks about how good the OVC Big South, outside of me, the Big South's fantastic. Southland, Patriot League, Pioneer, NEC. No one talks about how great they are anyway. So now it's more of the same.
More of the same. All right, guys, we're going into some of the classics here at the end. I think this is the closest kind of holiday or Christmas music that we're going to find. Last 3 questions are all Christmas and holiday related. So this is kind of cool. We will answer every question on the FCS Fans Nation podcast. We love when you guys get personal. What's the best Christmas cookie? Says Joshua Hoffman. Ooh, best Christmas cookie. Boy, What do you got there? I'll let you guys go first. Jamie, you got a thought on the Christmas cookies?
The chocolate chip and peanut butter cookies that my mom makes yearly. Nothing beats them. Can't wait for her to make them here in a couple weeks, hopefully before we go to Florida.
Awesome.
Easy
Kylor?
choice for me.
I live in Washington where other things are legal. No, let's go. No, the best Christmas cookies are honestly, and it's a cop-out lame answer, but they're the sugar cookies with just frosting and decoration, right? If you want it's Christmas. You want a snowman, a sugar cookie, you put some snowman frosting on it, right? I mean, that's what you got to do. Who cares about the other cookies? Because you can have those year-round. We want the gross sugar cookies with a lot of frosting that look like something Christmassy.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Kylor. Right up that realm. Yeah, that brings me back to my grandma's place and growing up. So I'm going to have to go with the loaded sugar cookies as well. Great call. Dustin Helton, that's my Christmas cookie. I make potato candy for Christmas. And Ron Lowney, white chocolate or butterscotch scotcheroos.
Now that sounds fantastic.
Yep.
And way better than the cookies Matt and I are eating, but it's Christmas. You don't eat good stuff on Christmas.
Yeah. What's the second best Christmas movie after Die Hard, says Dustin Helton. I'm going to pull a Jamie Williams here. Totally. I've never seen Die Hard. I've never watched it. I've never seen it. Nope. So, yeah, your faces, that was me with Titanic with Jamie. And what, Jurassic Park? Have you not seen Jurassic Park?
No, it's Lion King. I've seen Jurassic Park 4
Lion King. Times. Unbelievable. No, I've never watched Die Hard. But if it is the greatest Christmas movie of all time, then I will give you my second one, I guess, if it is Die Hard's that great. The Grinch. I've always loved The Grinch. I've got the inflatable out the door. I think it's a great story, good Christmas joy, and I like that green dude. All three versions have been great. So, Jamie, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
Charlie Brown's Christmas is always good. It's a classic, and I of an age where Home Alone was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I can see Jamie putting a paint can swinging from the stairs right when his parents are walking in. Kylor, movie, my man, Christmas time.
Well, yeah, Die Hard and Home Alone are the two greatest. Elf sucks. So I'll go with the next greatest. Yeah, Elf sucks. Shut up. It's one of Will Ferrell's only bad movies he's ever done in his life. Zooey Deschanel can sing better than what she's sang on that movie. It is true. What it is. So the night of, or the night before. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The night before.
It's either called The Night Of or The Night Before. It's a Seth Rogen movie, and it is the greatest movie for Christmas I've ever seen in my life.
In 2015, it's called The Night Before.
Oh, yeah.
I'll watch this before Die Hard.
Anthony Mackie, it's got Seth Rogen, and it's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it is the funniest thing you will ever watch for a Christmas movie. It's not one where you watch in front of your kids because you're going to see some things. But it is the greatest movie. A traditional Christmas movie, though, honestly, we watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation all the time, still every year. And that's always great. But yeah, The Night Before, Matt, if you want a new Christmas movie, so fantastic. The church scene, you will love.
I will have to check it out. Yeah, on your shout out example, Kylor, 3 homes down off the road in Castleton, small town where I live. Somebody has the leg lamp from December 1st to the 30th. It just sits out in their little entryway and it's lit up every night. You drive right by it for the National Lampoon. So
fantastic.
So good. Guys, that does wrap us up for the quick questions. So that means that you got to put your predictions hats on. We don't have many games left. This is the last week that we're going to predict more than 2 games, which is kind of mind-blowing. But it is our time to take on the robots and the artificial intelligence and take on the Versus Sports Simulator.
There is no way these guys can predict football games better than me. I am the mighty Versus Sports Simulator.
And shout out to the Versus Sports Simulator, something I did not prep tonight because I am in full packing. I'm packing for Cabo more than I'm packing for the podcast. So we will just round table the games and I'll try to pop them up here on the screen and we will start. Does everybody want a chance of this? It's only 4 games.
Let's do them all.
All right, Kylor. So when I assign it to you, go a little bit in depth of what you think and the rest of us will go kind of quick. So
okay.
Kylor, we'll start with the big one, the most intense game that's going to happen this weekend, Villanova and South Dakota State. What do you think?
Well, like I just said earlier, Villanova is my second favorite team after the Eagles, especially on the East Coast. That being said, I don't think you got much of a chance for South Dakota State. Sure, they don't have that guy at quarterback, but they got everything else. So you got to give it to South Dakota State, who's by far the best team of this year. Every single positions group, they're better than you at. I don't think this is going to be that much of a game, but God, am I rooting for Nova.
I will take the Rabbits by a lot. And Gronowski clan, remember, I'm not the one saying this if we see you in Frisco. So, Jamie, prediction here?
Jacks by 20-30. And I just want Deb Gronowski to know I'm the one that voted her son #1 for the Peyton Award.
Oh.
By the way, quick plug, the finalists for the Peyton Award will be announced tomorrow. Buck Buchanan on Tuesday. The Jerry Rice Award winner will be announced, I believe, on Wednesday, and Eddie Robinson on Thursday. That might be flipped. And then the Doris Robinson Scholar Athlete Award also this week. So look out for that. You'll get the top 3 for the Peyton and the Buchanan. You'll actually get the winners of the others this week. So keep an eye out.
Heck yeah. Appreciate all your work with that, Jamie, and the stats voters. You guys do a great job. It is always fun to see those things come out. So South Dakota State, a clean sweep. We expect a blowout. Good luck to Villanova heading to Brookings. South Dakota, though, on the other side, taking on North Dakota State. I do believe the Bison will take this one on their way into the semifinals, which would give them an above 500 road record, but can't play in the road, can't play in the cold. I don't know. Anyways, South Dakota, I think you're going to lose by 10 points. So I'm going to go 27-17, North Dakota State. Jamie, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is what I've been, since the matchup kind of solidified, I've been going back and forth, and I'm just not going to bet against the Bison this week. I'm just not going to do it. Bison by 1 score.
All right, Kylor, this one here.
I think if football was played with 1 quarter, I'd probably bet on the Coyotes. But since football is a 4-quarter game, I just don't see how you're beating NDSU twice in the same season if your name is not South Dakota State. So, yeah, give me the Bison by a good touchdown.
We are so far boring, no disagreements, and we'll see if Furman or Montana can change that. Jamie, what are you thinking? Grizz going to host again?
I feel like Montana is just rolling. I don't see anything that's going to slow them down. I think we're looking at a little bit more low-scoring game. I don't know that either team gets into the 30s, but I will take the Grizz to continue on here this week.
I love Furman to death, but the Grizz are a different machine right now. They're going to win by at least 20. I think this is a blowout. Kylor, what do you think? Grizz or Furman?
Well, I have a Furman tattoo on my leg, so you know I'm a big FU fan all the day. Furman has a really good defense, and they're probably one of the few teams on this side of the bracket that can probably make Montana start to question themselves, especially the Montana the last 8 weeks. That being said, going into Wagriz, tough. Playing this very excited, very hyped up, very cocky team in Montana versus a coach who is one of the greatest coaches in FCS history. I got to give it to the Grizz. And even though I just hyped up Furman with their defense, I don't think this is a one-possession game. I think Montana rolls through. But, oh, my gosh, go Furman.
The heart and the head disagree. And this is probably where disagreement comes in. This is the one. All right, so far, everybody's across the board. Albany, number 5 seed, taking on Idaho. The pride of the CAA coming in here against the Idaho Vandals. And Chris Hammond has just hopped on here. Kylor, worst picker ever, he says. He's getting some revenge.
Have you seen Chris's picks? That guy makes me look like God.
Oh, man. We'll see what happens here, but this is the big one. And I do not have faith in Idaho, but I'll take the home team. Like, it's weird. I don't have faith, but I'm going to pick them. I don't know why that makes sense, but I'll take Idaho. Another miracle close win. 28-24. I'll go something like that. So I'll take Idaho, but I'm not sold on it. Jamie, what do you think?
The biggest secret in the FCS is exposed this weekend. Albany walks into the Kiwi Dome and walks out with a 10-point victory. I just feel like their defense is playing so good. I don't think Idaho's going to be able to move the ball very well on them. I'm going to take the Great Danes to move on into the semifinals.
Dang, Kylor, split the difference here, my man.
Unfortunately, Great Danes are some of the coolest dogs, best dogs. They just don't last forever. So,
I'm logging off.
was that too much? I was actually going to pick Idaho in a landslide until Chris Hammond came on this chat and said, "Screw you, Kylor." So, let's go, Great Danes, baby. We're picking University of Albany. Let's go, and it's Albany, not Albany. You suckers.
Yeah, like Bison fans, we're changing to how it is. It's now Albany.
Changing names, man. Screw you, the Hammonds. We're going the Great Danes.
We're just gonna switch it up and change it up.
No one likes Newfoundland dogs anyway. Go Great Danes.
Oh man, what people do love though is the FCS Fans Nation podcast. We really appreciate you guys joining us. Just a quick reminder, if you've caught this on YouTube for the first time because you're traditionally an Apple or Spotify listener, you will get your traditional Apple or Spotify listening experience via audio the rest of the season. It is my real life circumstances preventing me from doing anything but prepping for flying out tomorrow at 4 a.m. From getting those things posted and done, which is why we went live tonight as well. Had a pretty consistent over 100 viewers for something we did not announce. Appreciate everybody who hopped on live and put in comments. You guys are great. Make sure though, you really do help us out if you're on YouTube right now. If you do click subscribe, we're actually at 1,830 subscribers on YouTube. So getting to that 2,000 threshold would be pretty huge. It helps the Jack Rabbit Illustrated podcast. Our Montana podcast is our gentlemen there are blowing theirs up. Their views are just going crazy. And
Fight on Montana.
Fight on Montana is just amazing. Make sure you subscribe to that platform. And the
Furman
YouTube
fans
channel,
can really go look that up.
100%. The YouTube channel really supports all these podcasts. So even if you don't listen to us for probably the first time this season, let's try to get it to 2,000. I'm going to do the plugs and just click subscribe, search FCS Fans Nation or Fans Nation Network, click it. So we really appreciate you guys. And that's what helps us maybe buy a few more rounds in Frisco. So that being said, Jamie and Kylor, we're going to find out the Final Four this weekend. Mr. Neal, you think the Big South is the best? They're not involved. Send us out with your final thoughts before we roll here this evening.
If you want to be a competitive FCS conference, you got to look at what the Big South is doing. Sure, they're losing all the teams of the CA. Sure, other teams are leaving. But they are left with two solid teams that may go 2-9 next year. So if you want to be the best in the FCS, which is slightly above D2, right? You gotta be what Big South is doing. I mean, they're fantastic. Let's go Big South.
Go Big South. And I'm gonna head south real quick down to Cabo, and I will catch you guys and my lovely gentlemen, Jamie and Kylor, next week. Enjoy the games, everybody. Thanks for supporting the FCS Fans Nation podcast. Catch you on the next one. Boom.
Thank you for listening to the FCS Fans Nation podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe to this podcast on your preferred listening platform, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, or even YouTube. And make sure to follow our FCS Fans Nation social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you for listening to the premier podcast for FCS